The desert doesn't whisper it, remembers. And on nights, when the wind howled across the open plains, Grant McCallan could swear it remembered him too. The echoes of his past rode with him. Gunshots, broken promises, the weight of a Texas Ranger badge that once meant everything and then meant nothing at all. A storm rolled in from the west, the sky bruised purple and black. Grant pulled the brim of his hat low and nudged his horse, Jasper, forward. All he wanted was shelter, but fate had other plans. A scream sliced through the storm like a knife. Desperate, terrified, Grant turned his horse toward the sound without hesitation. What he found at the edge of Black Mesa Canyon would change the rest of his life. Lightning flashed, revealing a young woman surrounded by 4 armed men on horseback. Her wrists were bound, her long dress clinging to her like second skin from the rain. Her face was streaked with mud and tears, but her eyes, even in the storm, burned with fury. Grant recognized the men immediately. The Black Mesa gang, and the man giving the orders, despite the heavy rain, was unmistakable. Cyrus Flint, silver-toothed, serpentine, and meaner than a cornered rattler. "Bring her back alive," Flint shouted. The woman struggled, twisting, refusing to yield. She slipped on the slick mud and stumbled backward, right toward the canyon's edge. Grant fired without thinking. One bullet. One outlaw collapsing. One chance. He spurred Jasper forward, leaning down from the saddle as the woman fell, and caught her in one arm. She gasped against his chest as he hauled her up onto the horse. "Who are you?" she cried over the thunder. "Grant McCallan," he said. "Hold on." That was all the introduction she got, before he kicked Jasper into a desperate gallop. Bullets hissed behind them, shouts filled the canyon, and Grant McCallan rode like the devil was chasing him because he was. Hours later, after outrunning the gang through the dark ravines, Grant pulled the shivering woman inside a line shack deep in the hills. The fire he built flickered orange across her face. She was young, maybe her hair was soaked, her lips split, but something in her gaze was unbroken, stubborn, proud. "I'm Rosalyn," she said softly. "Rosalyn Hayes." Grant stiffened. He knew the name. Her father had owned Hayes Villa, stretch of land with the cleanest spring water for miles. When rumors spread that Cyrus Flint wanted it for running stolen cattle, things turned bloody. "You're the last Hayes left," Grant murmured. She nodded slowly. "They killed my father. They came back for me next." Grant's jaw tightened. He understood exactly what kind of hell she'd lived through. "Don't worry," Rosalyn whispered, her voice shaking. "I don't expect a stranger to die for me." Grant pulled off his wet hat and stared into the fire before speaking. "I don't plan on dying, ma'am," he said. "And I sure as hell don't plan on letting them take you." She blinked, surprised by the certainty in his voice. You don't even know me." Grant met her eyes. "I don't need to." For the next 3 days, Grant and Rosalyn moved through the mountains, careful to leave no trail. By day, Grant taught her the basics of survival. How to load a revolver, how to distinguish coyote tracks from real danger, how to keep silent when listening for hoofbeats. By night, they shared the warmth of the fire and fragments of their lives. Rosalyn spoke of her father, of the valley he loved, of the orchards she'd grown up tending. Grant told her little, but his silence told plenty. Finally, one night, she asked directly, "Grant, what are you running from?" He froze. Rosalyn watched him with soft eyes, not pitying, just understanding. Grant finally said, "I was a ranger, and I failed someone I loved." "What happened?" she asked gently. "I wasn't fast enough," he murmured. "Good men died. A woman too. And every day since, I've been trying to make it right." Rosalyn reached across the fire and took his hand. "You saved my life," she whispered. "Maybe that's a start." Grant didn't pull away. Not this time. Far below, in the valleys, Cyrus Flint was tearing the land apart, looking for Rosalyn. He sent messengers to corrupt sheriffs. He paid bounty hunters. He put $1,000 reward on Grant McCallan's head, dead or alive. Flint didn't want Rosalyn because of her land anymore. He wanted her because she'd defied him, because she'd survived, because the cowboy had made a fool of him. And Cyrus Flint never forgot a humiliation. One morning, Grant made the call to head to Black Mesa town for supplies. Rosalyn had bruises that needed tending, and they were running low on water. As they approached the town, Grant noticed things. People staring too long, windows closing, a hush in the air. But by the time he realized something was wrong, it was too late. The sheriff approached them with 20 armed men. "Grant McCullen," he called. "You're under arrest for kidnapping Miss Hayes." Rosalyn stepped forward. "He saved me. Ma'am." The sheriff cut in. "You've been misled. Cyrus Flint says Cyrus Flint is a murderer," Rosalyn snapped. The sheriff's face hardened. "Miss Hayes, Flint owns this town. Best mind what you say." The guns raised. "Grant," whispered Rosalyn. "Run." She hesitated, her eyes meeting his. "Go," he barked, firing the first shot. She bolted. Grant kept the deputies pinned down, but avoided killing any. Ranger habits die hard. But there were too many. Grant fought like a cornered wolfist's elbows, boots, raw instinct. He took down 6 before they overwhelmed him. And in the struggle, Rosalyn was grabbed by Flint's men. Grant saw her hauled away, kicking and screaming. Grant. Her voice tore something inside him open. He lunged forward, was clubbed in the head, and darkness swallowed him. Grant woke in the sheriff's back room, wrists cuffed and head throbbing. "You're a fool," the sheriff said. "Should have kept riding." Grant stared coldly. "Where is she?" "Flint's men took her to the stronghold." "You can't save her." Grant flexed his wrists subtly, testing the cuffs. "Watch me." Rosalyn was dragged into the outlaw fortress, carved into the cliffs. The men jeered and shoved her, but she kept her chin high. "Cyrus." Flint greeted her with a cruel smile. "Rosalyn Hayes, the Valley Princess. Thought you could run." She spat at his boots. He slapped her hard. "You're gonna wish you'd stayed dead with your father." Rosalyn's lip bled, but her voice never broke. "You'll never have my land, and you'll never break me." Flint leaned in close. "Oh, sweetheart, I don't want your land anymore." He grinned with his silver tooth. "I want the cowboy who stole you from me." Rosalyn's stomach twisted. Grant. She whispered, "God." Grant broke out of the jail in less than 6 minutes. He picked the cuff lock, using a sliver of metal from his boot spur, knocked the deputy unconscious, stole back his hat, guns, and horse. The storm inside him burned hotter than the desert sun. He'd lost people before. He wasn't losing Rosalyn, too. Night fell. As Grant reached the stronghold, the cliffs glowed red in the moonlight. He tied Jasper to a hidden rock shelf, checked his guns, took a deep breath. "This is for you, Rosalyn." He slipped inside like a shadow. 1 guard, then 2, then 5. Grant moved silently, dropping men with the precision of a man who'd lost everything once and refused to lose again. Gunfire erupted. Alarms rang. Men shouted. But nothing stopped him. Not the bullets, not the odds, not the memories clawing at his heart. He fought his way through them all. Grant kicked open the main door. Rosalyn was tied to a pillar. Cyrus Flint held a gun to her head. "Drop your weapons, McCullen," Flint taunted. "You can join the Rangers in hell." Grant slowly raised his hands, letting his guns drop to the floor. Flint laughed. "That's more like it." Then Grant said calmly, "Rosalyn, duck." Flint frowned. "What?" Rosalyn dropped instantly. Grant grabbed Flint's arm, slamming him into the pillar. The gun went off harmlessly. Rosalyn scrambled away as the 2 men clashed to forces of pure will. Flint pulled a knife. Grant twisted his wrist. They tumbled through a table, punching, grappling, choking for air. Flint snarled, "You should have stayed broken, McCullen." Grant drove his fist into Flint's face. "I'm done losing the people I care about." A final punch. Flint fell limp. It was over. Rosalyn ran to Grant. He caught her, pulling her against his chest, feeling her heartbeat against his. She clung to him, trembling. "I knew you'd come," she whispered. Grant cupped her cheek gently, his voice breaking. "I'll always come for you." Then he kissed hers low, fierce, full of all the fear, rage, hope, and love he'd held back. They held each other long, after the battle's dust settled. In the months that followed, Flint's gang was broken. The valley was restored. People returned to rebuild. Grant refused money and titles, but Rosalyn offered him something else. "Stay," she whispered one evening. "Not because I need you, but because you want to." Grant looked at the valley, at the peach trees she planted in honor of her father, at the home rising from the ashes. "I've been running for a long time," he said. She stepped close, resting her forehead against his. Then stop. Grant finally breathed deeply, freely, and for the first time in years, he stayed. The story spread far and wide. The outlaw king who fell. The valley woman who never broke. The cowboy who fought an army to save her. Grant McCallan and Rosalyn A's became a legend, whispered in saloons and around campfires. A tale of danger, redemption, stubborn hope, and a love fierce enough to silence the guns of Black Mesa. Under the endless western sun, they built a life forged in blood and healed by love. And they endured together. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Western stories.